Most people finish dinner somewhere around 8 or 9 in the evening. Then they wake up, have coffee, maybe a light breakfast. Without really planning it, they have been eating across a wide stretch of the day. That is not unusual. A Salk Institute study tracked the eating patterns of more than 150 adults and found that most people eat for 15 hours or more per day, with more than a third of calories consumed after 6 in the evening. That finding matters more than it might seem. Because your body does not just track what you eat, it tracks when. Every cell in your body runs on a roughly 24-hour clock. These circadian rhythms govern when you are most sensitive to insulin, how efficiently you process glucose, and how your body handles fat. And those rhythms do not stay static as we age. Research shows they weaken over time. Today, we are going to look at what the science says about aligning your eating with those rhythms, why that alignment may matter, especially after 60, and what a practical starting point actually looks like. Here is the key insight from circadian biology. Your metabolic machinery works differently at different times of day. Insulin sensitivity, your cell's ability to respond to insulin and clear glucose from your blood, is higher in the morning and lower in the evening. That is not random. It is a feature of your biological clock. Eating a large meal late at night means your body is handling that food during its least metabolically efficient window. This is the mechanistic basis for what researchers call time-restricted eating, or TRE. The idea is not to eat less. It is to eat within a window that aligns with when your body is best equipped to handle food. A 2023 supplement published in the Journals of Gerontology, sponsored by the National Institute on Aging, described time-restricted eating as an actionable approach to sustaining the circadian regulation of metabolism, and specifically flagged it as a potential alternative to calorie restriction for older adults. That last part matters. Sustained calorie cutting in older adults risks accelerating muscle loss and frailty. Timing your food differently may offer some of the same metabolic benefits without that trade-off, and one of the most important trials in this space was published in Cell Metabolism in 2018. Researchers at the Pennington Biomedical Research Center studied men with prediabetes following an early eating window, finishing their last meal by early afternoon, for 5 weeks. Insulin sensitivity improved, blood pressure dropped, oxidative stress decreased. Here's what made this study stand out. Food intake was carefully matched between the two groups. No one lost weight. The cardiometabolic improvements happened purely from shifting when the meals occurred. A follow-up study from UC San Diego and the Salk Institute, published in 2020, tested a less demanding 10-hour eating window, think 8 in the morning to 6 in the evening, in adults who already had metabolic syndrome and were on standard medications. Over 12 weeks, participants lost weight, reduced waist circumference, lowered blood pressure, and improved certain blood lipids. Again, no calorie restriction was prescribed, and adherence was high. A smaller pilot study in older adults, specifically overweight and sedentary, found that a similar approach over 4 weeks led to meaningful weight loss, improved walking speed, and better quality of life with few reported side effects. These are not enormous trials. The field is still developing, but the consistency of the signal across different populations is notable. The most practical starting point is a 10-hour eating window, not the aggressive 6 or 8-hour windows you may have seen discussed online. A simple example: first meal at 8 in the morning, last meal by 6 in the evening. Plain water, black coffee, and plain tea are fine outside that window. There are 2 equally important parts to this. First, the window itself. Second, where that window sits in the day. The research consistently points toward eating earlier rather than later, front-loading your calories toward morning and midday, and finishing your last meal at least 2 to 3 hours before bed better matches the body's peak insulin sensitivity. If you are currently eating across 14 or 15 hours, do not jump straight to 10. Shrink the window gradually, 30 to 60 minutes every few days over 1 to 2 weeks. That slower pace reduces hunger and irritability, and it makes the change far easier to sustain. One thing that genuinely matters at this age: protect your protein. Older adults are more resistant to building and maintaining muscle from protein, so the quality and distribution of what you eat within the window matters. Aim to spread protein across your meals rather than concentrating it in one sitting. A 10-hour window is wide enough for 3 solid protein-rich meals. Researchers recommend older adults aim for roughly zero point 0.4 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per meal, distributed across meals throughout the day. Oo, dasim totori or a few concerns come up reliably when people hear about eating windows. Isn't skipping breakfast unhealthy? An 8 to 6 window includes a full breakfast. You are not skipping it. The benefit is about closing the window earlier in the evening, not about which meal you remove. Won't I lose muscle? This is a legitimate concern for older adults, and it is worth taking seriously. The short answer is that muscle loss risk in TRE is addressable. The key is hitting your protein targets within the window. Eating fewer hours does not require eating less protein. This sounds like a fad diet. TRE is not a diet in the traditional sense. It makes no rules about which foods to eat or how many calories to consume. The mechanistic foundation is circadian biology, and the benefits seen in controlled trials appeared even without weight loss, which tells us something real is happening independent of calorie balance. Shell. This approach is not right for everyone as a do-it-yourself experiment. If you take insulin, sulfonylureas, common examples include glipizide or glyburide, or other glucose-lowering medications, please talk with your doctor before changing your eating schedule. The American Diabetes Association's current standards of care note that insulin secretagogues may need adjustment in the setting of fasting. Changing when you eat while on those medications without medical guidance can cause dangerous drops in blood sugar. If you have a history of an eating disorder, work with a registered dietitian or physician before following any structured eating framework. If you are already underweight or have concerns about muscle or nutritional status, very narrow eating windows under 8 hours are not appropriate without professional guidance. And as always, with any change to how you eat, if you feel dizzy, weak, or confused, or notice heart palpitations during the fasting portion of the day, stop, eat something, and contact your doctor. Those symptoms warrant evaluation. Everything in this video is educational information, not medical or dietary advice. Please discuss any change in eating patterns with your doctor or a registered dietitian, particularly if you have diabetes, heart disease, kidney disease, or take medications that need to be taken with food. The idea we covered today is genuinely simple, not a new supplement, not a complicated protocol, just a shift in the window of time during which you eat, aligned a little more closely with the rhythms your body has always been running on. Early research suggests that for many adults over 60, that shift alone may support better metabolic health, improved insulin sensitivity, healthier blood pressure, and a more stable weight, even without counting a single calorie. That is worth trying thoughtfully and carefully in conversation with your healthcare team. If you found this useful, consider subscribing. We put out new videos every week on topics like this, calm, evidence-grounded, and written specifically for adults in their 60s and beyond, and the family members who care about them. We will see you in the next one.